Hello. Just checking that we are live. And we are.
Cool.
Awesome. Hey, how are you, Akshara, Simone?
Hi, I'm good. How are you? It's been a long time.
Yeah,
Hey, great. This is my first Twitch stream, so a little bit excited.
nice, nice. So let's just wait for more people to join. In the meantime, people that are joining, tell us where you come from. What time is it for you? I think for Simone, it's like 7:30, right?
Oh,
Yeah, that's right.
Are you a morning person?
I have become a morning person since I started working at MuleSoft. I'm not naturally one.
Okay.
okay.
Well, that's good. I'm not a morning person at all, so I appreciate being on the east side because I could not wake up early. All right, we're getting people. Hi,
Yep.
Niket. Hi, Bugat.
Hello.
All right, so we're getting people. That's good. Hello, first time chat from Twitch. 3:30
Yeah.
p.m. in Salesforce Tower, London. Awesome.
Wow.
9 p.m. in India. Is that a good time? Are you a night owl? That would be a good time for me. I'm more of a night owl, not 7:30.
Same here.
Hey, Munaf. Hey, Kumar. 10:30 a.m. in New Hampshire. Same, same. Also 10:30 a.m. here. Hello, Uday. Hello, Arun. Alrighty. So, oh, we still get. Oh, from Argentina, 10:32. Awesome. Hi. 21 in India. 21? Like, oh, like 9.
9 p.m.
Yes. Hey, Jim. Alrighty. So let's get on to the latest followers that we had. So I believe, oh, we've had more. Which one was the last one that I read? Wasn't it like Endpoint? Yeah, I think it was Endpoint. And then, oh, we have a lot more. That's awesome. Gustavo Joao Santos. Trigger Veins, M. Gunjara. Oh, and Trigger Veins, I think, just talked to us right now. So yay. Howard, Howard Ed Gran, Michael T. Rose, Amrita, Aziz, T. Chang, Barol, Sujata, Charlie, Muy Twitch, Martins, and Nidin, and UD Hansing. I always have a great time reading all of y'all's Twitter handles. I think Endpoint has been awesome. And there's also like a slightly Dave somewhere. That one was also cool. So, all right, that's all for me. So, what's up with you? Okay, let's go. Yay, I love the
Yes.
energy. Okay, let's
Let's
go.
go.
Go, Simone. Hey, Shiam. And then someone is saying it's 17 over here. Awesome. Waiting for the 21. That's when my brain kicks in. Night owl. Good to know. All right. So, how are you all?
Yep. Are you asking us? We are good. We're too good. And super
Yes,
excited
yes.
for ACB.
Yeah, me too. Me too. All right. And I guess Simone is excited for everyone to see her baby.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Thank you for letting me be here, Alex. I'm super thrilled because today is the day. Today is the day where we are showing my baby to the world. I could not be more excited. Very excited, a little bit scared, but more excited than scared.
Good, good. All right. So, who's going to start?
Okay, let's get started. I'll share my screen and I'll assure you I'll take care of the baby today.
Thanks. I have no doubts of that.
Akshara will show it to the world like the Lion King.
Oh,
Definitely.
yes. Can you hold it
So,
up?
yeah, I'm already sharing my screen. So,
Yes.
cool. Let's get started. So, I think everyone must have already visited or maybe at least tried once, or if not, let's get over there today. So, we are in the Anypoint Code Builder. And before getting started, I mean, this is the actually like the ID, the baby what Simon has been saying about. So let's launch the ID and we can have our chit chat going on. So ID, yeah, while it's launching, and Simon, would you like to add something like what is ACB about? What is it, and what would
Yes,
you like to
thank
tell
you.
us more?
So I'm assuming that almost everybody who is here on Twitch today knows what it is, but Anypoint Code Builder is MuleSoft's next generation IDE. And the use cases that we are supporting initially is to design an API, implement APIs, and build integrations. And what you will see in the demo today is the cloud version of Anypoint Code Builder. So you saw Akshata got there from the Anypoint Code Builder homepage. So this will now be available in all Anypoint organizations on the US control plane. Obviously, when we go GA, it's also going to be available in EMEA. And also, and I know that question is going to come up, when we go GA, it will be available as a web IDE and also as a desktop IDE. But today we have this web IDE, which is really cool, where Akshata is going to show you a few things now.
So let's get started. So as Simon mentioned, like we have different capabilities here, and the ID, the web ID, it resembles to the Visual Studio Code. So you have this Anypoint Code Builder plugin, the icon here, which is actually the homepage, you can say, or the page where you can find different tutorials to get started with. You can have your file section, you can have your Explorer, the similar way we have in the Visual Studio Code. So today to get started, we'll be designing our API, we'll be implementing it, scaffolding it, and we'll be just doing the regular way how we have been doing in our local studio. But this is something we are doing on the Anypoint Code Builder, and that's what excites me about it. So let's get started with designing our API. Okay. So we'll be following a regular API specification, API development lifecycle. So to begin with, the traditional API, which is like everyone's favorite, we can say, American Lights API, and then you need to select your location. It could be, for me, it's the home location. You can select your API specification language as well. We'll go ahead with RAML 1.0 and then create your API project. So before getting here as well, it's going to ask you for a few permissions, which you need to give assign some permissions, and you need to make sure that you are having the correct access right from your access management. So that is something you'll be doing on when you're doing it for the first time. So yeah, I have already done the steps to save some time. And yeah, if you guys have any question, feel free to comment in the LinkedIn or Twitch channel, so we can take it from there. We have the expert with us, Simon, so you can just ask any of your questions.
Right. And just I want to add one thing, which I didn't say at the beginning. So I'm sure you all spotted it. So Anypoint Code Builder is based on Visual Studio Code. When we started this project, we did a lot of research on what is the favorite IDE in the market right now. And we found that most people already use Visual Studio Code. So this was the natural choice for us to get started on that and provide Anypoint Code Builder as an extension pack into Visual Studio Code. And what you see here in the cloud is running on Salesforce Code Builder. If you're familiar with that, that's an open beta as well, which enabled us to run Visual Studio Code in the cloud.
Cool. Thank you, Simon. So going forward, we'll be designing an API. So let's get started by defining our endpoints, a few methods. Um, if you want, you can have a URI parameter. I'm actually following a documentation over here, which is like the beta docs, which are already out. Alex, maybe you can just post out the links so our audience can follow them as well.
Done.
Cool. Thank you. So this is the basic skeleton. Like we are just gonna have like limited amount of endpoints, you can say, and we have this thing, right? While I was designing this API, so I'm not doing it from scratch. I mean, you get this. You can just have control space, and you get all the options, like whatever you want to type. If you want the query parameter, sorry, if you want to delete option, or you just have to do control, just like the way we used to get in our sorry.
Yeah, thank you. I was just going to mention that. So you have this autocomplete. Right now we are in an API design, so it's a context-sensitive autocomplete, which helps you knowing what at this point in your API design you can choose, and then you get the list. You can choose the one that you want to put in at this point.
Yeah, this actually speeds up your development. Like I'm just clicking on it and I'm like getting all the options, and I don't even have to like remember everything.
So maybe while you're doing that, I'm looking at a few questions here.
Sure.
So I know we are at API design right now, but people know that we will talk about implementing APIs, developing integrations, and so a natural question is, will this replace Studio? So as we are in a beta right now, you will note that we don't yet have all the capabilities, all the parity with Studio. It's our end goal. So longer term, Anypoint Code Builder will be the new IDE that will replace Studio. But until we get to the full parity, we're not going to take Studio away. So I don't want anybody to get nervous. You will continue being able to use Studio as we ramp up Anypoint Code Builder with the capabilities that Studio has and more. If you ever heard me talk about it, there's a lot of things that we want to add to Anypoint Code Builder, like intelligence, AI recommendations that we are working on. But yes, longer term, this will be your new IDE.
Cool. Thanks. I had the same question, Saman. So thank you. So moving ahead, now that we have our API specification almost ready, we will definitely like to add some fragments as well. So you can just click Command P, and you can have like you can import a data fragments which are already there in our Exchange. You can directly import it. So I'm gonna need some data types. I'll just click on training because we have training American flights data type already present. I need to select what I need and then pick up a version of it, and it will be added to my Explorer. Similarly, I'm going to add uh, the examples. So American flights example, picking up the version, and it's added. So you can see it should be there with you. The data types and the examples. So let us define them. You can just tab on and you'll get all of the path, or you can copy paste directly the relative path from there as well. We'll be doing both. So here I'm just tapping and I'm getting the path, and I'll use this example as
Akshanta, this is basically the fundamentals trainings API, right?
yeah, fundamental training API. That is the one which is like the most basic one, and we all can use it. So I don't
Yeah,
worry with it.
I think everybody who has taken the MuleSoft training
Use of
will be
training.
familiar with the American Flights API.
Yeah, that's true. So I'll just add some examples over here which we have already listed down. So previously we can just copy a relative path over here. Yeah, it should be there. So while I'm designing this API, we also have an API console over here, which helps you like once your API is designed, you can also mock your API similarly how we used to do in our the design center. So that is one functionality. Like you can do it side by side as well while you're designing your API. Okay, let me select the parameter.
There's an interesting question. Salesforce Code Builder had a time limit of 20 hours per month. Does Anypoint Code Builder have the same limit during beta phase?
That's a good question. So we are not limiting Anypoint Code Builder for production accounts. We are thinking about introducing a limit for trials at some point. But currently, the only limit is if you're on a trial, when your trial expires, we will remove the entitlement. But if you're in a production instance or if you are on a trial that's not expired, then there's no limit right now. Sweet. I wanted to add something to what Akshata is doing. So you may have noticed when she opened the API console and the mocking service, right now this API is available locally. She hasn't really pushed it yet.
Push it, yeah.
So the mocking service that is part of Anypoint Code Builder is a local mocking service. So in order to try out your API, you do not have to push it yet. You do not have to publish it yet. You can try it out as you design it.
Yeah. And now speaking of the next step, we can actually publish it. We can have our changes which have been like unstaged. So we can add all the files together, or we can add them one by one as stage. Okay. So once the changes have been staged, you can actually see the changes as well, like how they are reflecting, what are the changes you have done. So exchange.json will be a right file which will actually tell you what are the changes and how are the state changes. So once that is done, you can click on initial commit. I mean, you can write your own message, sorry, and just commit the changes to to Design Center. So you can also see those changes which have been like they are in sync in the Design Center. Um, yeah, they are syncing. So it actually asks you like, would you like to periodically run a git fetch if you want to be in sync with the Design Center? If someone else is using the Design Center as well for designing the same API, so you can click yes, or it's up to you. Once the changes have been committed, you can push the changes. So you see there are all get operations over here. So now we have pushed the changes. If you want to do something else, we can do. Else we can the next step. Like once our API is completely ready, you can publish your API to Exchange. You can create more example folders, and you can have more example types or data types defined. You have an option to click a folder over here. You can create a new folder or a new file, and add your expand. You can import more fragments as well. Once your API specification is ready, the next step, as it is, like we'll be publishing it to Exchange. So again, the same command, command P, and you get the command palette. You'll be publishing it to Exchange, publish API specification to Exchange, and then give it a name. What would you like to publish? And then the artifact ID, the asset version, the API version, and yeah, there you go. It's been published to Exchange. So we'll see in the Exchange as well. Anypoint, like how it looks like. Okay.
So you will notice, I'm sorry, you will notice how Akshata, she was using commands in the command palette. So that's something that is part of Visual Studio Code. And you get the VS Code commands, but you can also, when you start typing MuleSoft, you can see all the commands that we have added for Anypoint Code Builder in there. And this is like, publish to Exchange, import asset from Exchange. So all those commands you can see in that command palette.
So yeah, in the Exchange, we'll be having American Flights API publish. Okay, it's not yet published.
Yeah, because this is a live demo, of course,
It
something
will
slow.
take some time.
We do that intentionally so that you can see that it's all live, right?
Yeah, you got me. I guess we published to Exchange. Yeah, we did. Okay, let's publishing to Exchange again. Let us see if it's there in the Design Center, because we have seen the changes now. It
Yeah,
should be.
you should see it
Yeah,
in the
it is.
Yeah.
That's nice. It's cool. Uh, so how about the errors now? Like the one we have. So we should be seeing the dependencies as well, right?
Yeah, so it seems like it has some issues there with dependency resolution and design center.
Okay. Something went wrong while publishing to Exchange. Okay, we can try it again. Let me close the console and
I think there's a question for you, Simone. Any difference in features between Web IDE and Desktop IDE?
There isn't going to be a difference in features. So we will use the same code base for the web IDE and the desktop IDE. There will be some change in behavior just because when you're in the cloud, if you don't have a proxy set up to connect to on-prem applications, you won't be able to do that. But the features, the extension path as such is going to be exactly the same between the web IDE and the desktop IDE.
Thank you.
okay.
So I'm not sure what's going around here.
I'll try it again. Something went wrong while publishing to the Exchange. That's the only error I'm getting.
Yeah, maybe there was something wrong with the dependencies.
Okay, it seems good, and I did try this thing a couple of times as well. So
I know it's like impossible to debug something while you're on a live camera.
yeah, true. I just try with a different name, and
So also Niket says, so it is built on Monaco IDE like VS Code. Do you know about that?
I do not. I saw that question. I actually I don't know if Martin is on. Maybe he may be able to answer that. I'm not familiar with Monaco IDE, to be honest.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, so if this, so I see the question, are we going to see flow development today? I don't know if we will be able to debug this here while we're live. We could also,
we can also implement it. Yeah,
yeah,
I
just
mean,
just
this
move
is
on
the
to,
last time. If this doesn't work, yeah, I'll just
yeah,
implement it.
okay. Yeah, then we can move on to the next step. Yes, so you will see flow development today. So I also wanted to say the reason why we are in an open beta, I know, not actually sure if MuleSoft has ever done open betas before, but so last year we've done a private beta with about 15 companies in it. A private beta is always like high touch. You have like direct communication with every attendee. You work with them directly, and there's a limit of how many attendees you can have in a private beta. But we got a lot of requests for other people to join the beta, so we decided, because so many people want to be able to get their hands on Anypoint Code Builder, want to try it out, that we make it available now as an open beta. So while it's still in development, while we're still adding features leading up to GA and beyond, we wanted to give you the current version so that you can play with it and you can give us feedback.
Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and design our API specific. I mean, implement our API specification. The one which we were trying, it didn't get deployed. I mean, so we can just we can implement an API specification using any other API. The training API should already be there. So you can still import the same API because it should be there in the exchange, right? Okay, training American Flights API. I can add this asset and we are creating a project. So basically, if our API would have been published to Exchange, we would have done the same step, but we would have got an option to scaffold the API while it is publishing to Exchange. So if you can select yes or no, and then it would be scaffolded, and then you will get an API flow router. And it's the same process, but we're just doing it explicitly. But if you're doing it in a flow using, I mean, first assigning, then publishing it to Exchange. So at the same time, you get an option to scaffold the API, and we're just doing it explicitly using implement an API. So we'll be implementing API in which ways. So here I have selected API specification as the American Flights API, and then I'm creating a project. Okay. So it's still scaffolding API. You will be seeing the same procedure even if it would have gone the other way. So let's wait while it is. And the third option is to develop an integration. So using the third option, you can actually develop an integration from the scratch. You'll be getting a blank canvas, which is like all for you to explore and write your integration by yourself. But if you want an API specification already in handy and you want to scaffold it, so you need to implement an API. So you can see we already have the structure. The structure is almost the same. We have a flights American flights API.xml. You can just double click it and you'll be getting a graphical view as well as the XML view. So you can show mule graphical mode to see the graphical view, which will generate a canvas view.
Right, and one thing I would like to add, if you look at the Explorer, um, we're making it much cleaner and simpler than it is today in Studio. So if you remember, when you have a project in Studio, there's a lot of things that are there, like libraries and everything. We're only showing you the files actually that you need in order to check something or that you are working on, so that you have a cleaner view in the Explorer. Then the other thing you're going to see here, and sorry, I'm going to let Akshanta talk for a little bit, because she probably was going to
No, I
explain.
mean, I'm happy to listen to you as well. That's fine. Um, so taking ahead, like we can see the outline, the flow outline, how it is. We have the main console and the main files, like the way we used to have in our Anypoint Studio as well. We are having the main file, which is having the listener. So if you click on any of the component, the flow basically, the delete flow, it will show you like which is the delete flow and how it looks like. And then going ahead, if you're clicking on any of the component, it will actually highlight the code for you, like this transformer denotes this thing. And we are still working on the GUI part, right, Simon, to make it more editable. Or
Yeah, sorry, my team was just talking about the Monaco editor, which I didn't know about. Yes, so as I mentioned, we're still in development, but we did want to give you the tools so that you can try it out yourself. We are adding the UI in stages. So we all know you want a graphical user interface to build your flows. That is the goal. The first stage of the UI right now is to have this read-only UI that builds while you add on the right-hand side in the XML. The next stage, which I'm going to demo at TDX, if you have a chance to come to TDX, you will see it there, will be where we show you how to build your flow in the canvas instead of the XML. And then we are building stage by stage, we're adding more functionality to the UI. So don't be afraid. We're not moving from a low-code tool to a pro-code tool. So the goal is that you can do everything either in the XML, then it's reflected in the UI, or you can use the UI and then it is reflected in the XML. And as you can see, we added this functionality where you can actually have your graphical user interface and your XML side by side, so you can easily switch between both of them. And as you see, Akshata showing you here, when you click on a processor in the UI, it highlights it in the code. And we also, in the spirit of making everything cleaner, we're only showing one flow at a time, and you can go through that little outline in order to jump from one flow to the other.
yes, yeah, this makes it super easy. I mean, more organized, I would say.
Yeah.
So while we are in the listener component, so we have this listener which is defined over here, the listener config. You can actually test the configuration as well. There is a test component test connection button, which helps you to test a connection. So this is just one connector. If you want to add any other new connector, while it is verifying, you can add a new connector as well. So the same step, import, um, add an asset.
I think it's import asset from Exchange.
Yeah,
So you will see that we are bundling the most used connectors directly with Anypoint Code Builder. Like, for example, the Salesforce connector is bundled, so that one you don't have to import. But then if you want to use another connector, like, for example, Slack, then you
Slack.
go to Exchange and you import it from Exchange.
You can just select the connector version, community version, or the normal version, and select the version, and it will be there for you. If you want to configure any of the connector, you just need to write like Salesforce, and it should be there. The configuration would be there, and you just need to fill in the details, like, and also basic, yeah, the username and password. So this is how actually you would configure a connector. So
Yeah,
once this
actually,
is
no, go ahead.
so sorry, I mean that was it. So I was just saying that once you're done with this, so you can go to whichever flow you want to, and we can just add a logger over here and test out the flow. Yeah, Simon, you can continue.
Sorry. Yeah, so you may have noticed that when Akshata does the autocomplete, there's like two different types of autocompletes. One is what comes directly out of the Mule DSL, but then there's a second type which is called a snippet. And snippet is something that comes out of the box with Visual Studio Code, which is another reason why this is such a great IDE.
Yeah.
And we, as the ACB team, sorry, ACB is the acronym, obviously, for Anypoint Code Builder. So the ACB team has bundled a number of snippets with the product to make your life easier. For example, for the Salesforce configuration, you don't have to build it step by step. It's just the whole snippet that you need. But you can also, this is what I do for my demos to make my life easier, you can also add your own user-defined snippets. If there are certain things that you do a lot, like let's say there's a transform that you do all the time, then you can define that as a snippet, you can give it your own prefix, and then you can just use those snippets as you build the XML. And I want to repeat again for those who didn't hear it the first time, because I saw a question where somebody asked, what is the advantage of using the code? Again, this is a beta version, and we are building the UI. So the expectation is that longer term, you will be able to do everything in the UI unless you prefer the code. Some people do that because you can also do it pretty quickly if you have the snippets. But we are adding more and more functionality to the UI in stages so that you have a fully functional UI in Anypoint Code Builder.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
This is
Yeah.
the snippet, right, you're talking about. So it has everything we need. And all we need to do is just create an empty snippet file and just copy paste this stuff, right?
Yes.
Cool. Yeah. Let me just show that as well. I mean, we have an option over here from, you just need to click on project, um, and then go to file, preferences, configure user snippet, and it will be giving you a mail snippet file.
I'm
You
feeling
can
like I'm stealing your thunder here, talking
no,
about
no,
things.
no, you're actually reminding me like what I should be doing. So it's fine. That's how Twitch streams are supposed to be. So yeah, we just created a snippet file as well over here, and yeah, it's done. So as you said, like this is going to be helping us with it, with inbuilt packages, right? So we don't have to like code it again or like call it explicitly. Cool. So now that we have a snippet file, and but is it mandatory to create a snippet file? That's a question I had for you.
It's not mandatory, no. I mean, there's a lot of people who are like power users with Mule apps. If you're really fast putting everything together, you don't have to do a snippet file. I mean, for me, I just find it easier to do things. And then later when we have the full UI, it will probably be even less important. But
Yeah.
it's great for demos, I can tell you that, because that's the main work that I do.
Okay, cool. So now that we have added our snippet, okay, sorry, anything else?
Yeah, I saw a question. Can we add components by updating directly, adding Maven dependencies in pom.xml? So yes, you can, if you want to open the pom file. So you can also go into the pom file and add, if you know the syntax, if you know what you need to add, then you can also add it in there manually.
Yeah.
But basically, that's what happened when we imported the Slack connector from Exchange. It added it to the pom file.
POM file, yeah. And the next thing, once we have all this code in place, all I did is was just like I just added a logger over here. I mean, in the get flights part, so that we can test it out like our response and just a message payload. So now let's run this application. We can run by debugging or without debugging. So let me try without debugging, and if time permits, yeah, we do have time, we can debug as well.
Yeah. So we bundle a runtime. Right now we are bundling Mule 4.4 within Anypoint Code Builder. So you can build it, you can debug it direct locally within ACB. And I just saw Jim's question. Right. Yes, we will talk about that at some point. But we definitely, so we are working with the MuleSoft AI team because we want to get more intelligence into ACB. So well, there isn't a direct plan to include ChatGPT, but we have our own AI team within MuleSoft. And so one of the things that we are working on right now, I don't know, maybe I'm giving away a little bit too much of our roadmap, but we are actually talking to them about something like best next action, where we detect what people are working on and we say this, we give you like 1 or 3 or 5 as a potential best next action that you want to use within your flow. So yeah, we have a lot of plans for AI, for recommendations. We are working on the concept of building blocks. So at some point there was a question there, how is this better than Studio? And I think that's the answer to your question. We are planning on adding intelligence. We are planning on adding AI. We are planning on adding recommendations, building blocks, a lot of things that don't exist in today's IDE.
Okay. So we just deployed our application, and I guess there have been some. I mean, I got an option over here to open the URI. So URL. So this was the URL, and yeah, I'm getting. So no results found. Okay, it's flight. I'm not sure if we still have API or it's still. It is supposed to be flights.
Oh, is the API actually there in Exchange?
Yeah, this API is there in Exchange. So that's
Okay.
how we imported it, and this is the endpoint for which we just added a logger component. And that's it. Yeah.
Sorry, this is kind of small.
Yeah.
Can you zoom in, Akshara?
API kit not found, which should have not been the case. And
Oh, sorry.
let me
The
just
20, I think it's in line 20.
yeah.
American flights. You didn't overwrite anything that was scaffolded, right?
No, I didn't.
No.
Um, yeah, this is right. I mean, 8081. And then the API get router flow. Okay.
Also, Simone, you can do a full screen if you want. Just click
Oh,
on the button.
the button.
If you put your mouse over the screen and then on the bottom right, you're gonna see a button.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no worries.
Okay, now I can see it. I can see the stack.
We're getting no. We usually do have API. I'm not getting the response. I'm not sure. The other way you try it out, Simon, is like using the Postman or using the Thunderbolt, right?
Yeah, okay, so I have my trusted team on Twitch as well, and they're asking, can you please show the POM file?
Yeah.
Okay, Martin, anything specific you would like to see in the POM file?
I mean, we haven't done any changes to the form file.
No, I don't think it, yeah, API kit is there. I don't think its API kit is missing. I think there's an endpoint missing somehow, or maybe the name of the endpoint isn't correct, but API kit is there in the POM file, right? Can you go where API kit is in the POM file? Scroll up slowly,
Yeah,
slowly.
it's
Yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah, it's there. It's there. Okay, so that was not it.
And the extra two dependencies which we are not using, the Salesforce and Slack. Maybe I can just run the application again and we can try it out.
Yeah. So I have seen that error before when and I know you didn't do that, but I have seen that error before when I did a demo and I copied and pasted something and I overrode the name of the flow.
Okay.
And the name of the flow wasn't exactly like it was in the API. And I think I seen an error like that when I did that. But
Okay, your application is running and
oh, it's running now.
it's running on. No, it's just given the port information. It's not yet running. It's not yet there.
Oh yeah, that's not yet the final application. So let's give it a little bit of time.
But I did try like testing out other free application and they were fine. So I'll just open this thing in the
Oh,
browser.
it's correct now. It's deployed.
It's deployed and
Yeah. I don't know what happened before.
the flights endpoint. So there is no endpoint for flights. Okay, this is the correct URL, but here we can try using Postman. So if we are trying using Postman, we need to provide the cookies as well, which would be like from here.
Okay, while you're doing that, if it's okay, I'm looking at some of the questions.
Yeah, sure.
If you have time, you can also show the debugger, but
Yeah.
basically you can set breakpoints in the flow. And then just like in Studio today, you can just invoke your API and then you can step through the flow step by step, doing your debugging there. There's
I'll
a,
just show the thing as well, the debugger.
There
So
was
if
a
you're doing it from Postman, sorry, Alexa.
no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, if you're doing it from Postman, you'll be getting, you have to enter this kind of information. I mean, the authorization proxy and the signature. But if it is from browser, you don't have to enter anything. So that was the reason I was trying for browser. It saves time.
Yeah, this is because it runs in the cloud. That's
Cloud,
why
yeah.
we need to add that proxy.
So
Yeah, so I usually just get an extension for Thunder Client, which is another tool that you can use directly within the same VS Code here.
okay.
So I make
Uh,
my life easier.
that's true. It's somehow not running. I'll definitely debug and maybe we can get back on that part the next time. We do also
Oh,
have the next flow.
sorry, the URL request is wrong. It should be API flights. Is that, yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
you have
it's yeah.
API flights. Yeah.
The same request we can run from browser as well.
Yeah, you could try, if you want, you could try to bring in Thunder Client and you can run it directly in there.
Okay. Um,
So you could go to extensions,
extensions, yeah.
then search for Thunder Client. Yep, and there you can install it.
We're getting all the tips and tricks already.
And when you do that, when you use Thunder Client, you can actually use localhost 8081 in the request.
So I'll copy the same okay. I'll copy the same request, right? Or should
Yeah,
I
but
take out?
localhost instead of, yeah. Yeah, this should, I need to go back into full screen again. Yeah, this should be good.
The request is taking long. So should I be having a colon here or the usual one?
I think if you, the colon, oh yeah, localhost, yeah, localhost colon
80.
8081. I think you're getting the same error again that we had before.
Yes.
I think it actually gets to the application, but then in the application something is going wrong. So you could try setting a breakpoint.
Yep. I'll do
Maybe.
that. So if we have this flow, we can set a breakpoint
Yeah,
over here.
Juan, any idea why this exception is coming up?
And this is the flow which we are targeting. So let us debug it.
Set the breakpoint to the transform to the next line. I mean, I don't know if it actually gets there, but let's see.
Let's see. Start debugging. Yes.
Oh, you already have a debugger running.
It should start again, right?
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, it is.
okay.
I've just stopped it. I'll just start it again. Start debugging.
Yeah. Okay, I'm looking at the questions. Yeah, thank you, MuleSoft community, for answering that question. That's exactly it. So we have a lot of really cool things on our roadmap, including recommendations, including a new way of reusing parts of your flow, AI intelligence. So we'll keep you posted on all the cool stuff that we're going to do. Okay, Anna thinks something is maybe missing in the path of the HTTP configuration.
Okay.
Okay, and one things we could try
In the
without.
path, we already have it APS start. Let us try debugging how it
Yep.
goes. Yeah, it's already open. No listener for the endpoint. Okay, it's a bad request, which is fine.
Yeah.
But it didn't stop there, right? I mean, the debug points. So it's actually like the request is not coming through.
Yeah. Okay, so I think this needs a little bit more debugging than you can do on here.
On here,
Yeah.
that's true. So, is there anything else maybe we want to show? I know after this, the next step is would be like to deploy to Cloud Hub, right?
Yeah, so yes, so in addition to running and debugging locally, you can also directly deploy from here to Cloud Hub.
Cool. And while we are deploying, we'll create a configuration file, right? I mean, I haven't deployed it yet to Cloud Hub, but yeah, this is something. So, is there any other information that we need to pass here, or this is good?
Um, this should be sufficient, yeah.
Okay.
So
So,
there were some questions before. Maybe we can leave like 5 minutes so we
sure,
can go through them.
absolutely. I mean, we are almost done with this, and in the next with stream, we can actually go ahead with the proper use case, which will be like contact sync or some other use case, which is really like a bit more the next step you can say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, so
hopefully we resolve
yeah.
these errors as well.
Yeah, so next week I think we can show you a little bit more how to build a flow and then how to debug a flow. Well, data weave, so there's a question about data weave. Data weave is already there. I mean, you can't build a Mule app without data weave.
Data.
So next week we can also show you, for example, how to add sample data, how to do a preview in data weave. Maybe we can show a little bit of data sense. You can see there on the left there is outline, timeline, data sense.
Yeah.
So data weave is already there. We don't yet have the UI, but we do have the full power of data weave behind our Mule applications.
So, do you think this is deploying to Cloud Hub? We should be checking it out
Yeah,
there.
it
The
says
runtime map.
so. It should be there.
Cool. We can take up any questions as well. I think it's
Yeah, I'm
23
looking at if there are new questions coming in.
So let me go from the ones at the beginning because
Okay.
they may have been missed. First was, will any point code builder solve the debug issues of Anypoint Studio? I asked for a bit clarity of what those issues were, but I'm not sure, so I don't know if you know about that.
I'm not. No, I don't know what debug issues those may be.
That's
So if
fine.
Bill with all those sevens could clarify, then I can answer that question.
I think the left, but that's all right. So how about dealing with branching?
Okay, so again, I'm not completely sure what the question is, but I mean, you can define any Mule app just like in Studio. You can add choice branches, as many as you want. You can have loops. So
I
maybe I need
think,
a little bit more. Do you have an idea
yeah,
what that question
sorry.
might? Yeah.
Yeah, is it should be about the Git. It would be about the GitHub branch, I guess, like publishing on syncing your code with the GitHub branch.
Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking of
Okay.
the wrong
Yeah.
branching.
So for branching with the design center as well, I mean, designing the API specification, we can sync it with the design center. And for the code, you can initialize your repository. You have the source control feature over here, and you can publish it on a GitHub or any other repository. You can code it, sync it on.
Cool. What about Design Center if we will be using Code Builder from here on?
So the answer is similar to Studio. Design Center still has a lot of features that are not in Anypoint Code Builder yet. So we are definitely not going to sunset it for the time being. Usually, what I'm thinking is if you are somebody who only designs APIs, who does not implement them, who does not take the next step, I would still use Design Center. But if you are doing the whole end-to-end process, you design your API, you test it, you publish it, and then you implement it, then I would do that in Anypoint Code Builder.
Awesome. And then quick question, how to add new mule config files? Does it automatically add the mule XML namespaces like in Studio?
Okay, I'm not.
Yeah, you can
Oh,
just create a config file here. I mean, in the mule resources, and you can just create a new file here, right? And you can give it name as
yeah,
config.yaml, and then you can
right. Okay.
configure your stuff. Yeah, like
Yeah, yeah,
if you're
yeah.
having some.
So completely
Sorry.
correct. Yes, you can add the config files there, and then you can use it within your Mule app.
Yeah, the username, password, and so
Yeah,
on.
we don't usually do that in the demo because we don't really want to show you our usernames and passwords.
Yeah.
Will ACV avoid the usage of Jenkins, Git, etc. in the near future if it comes fully in full parity?
All right, I'm calling off my friends from the ACB team to answer this question.
Cool.
Maybe if one of you, Martin, Shabana, if one of you could put it in comments, help me out.
While that happens, so not property files. I'm talking about mule files, like the mule flow files, I guess, like the XML files. So how do
To
you create new
to your
XML files, basically?
oh
So
yeah,
we
yeah.
can create a new file, and then we can like click on like whatever files you want.
Yeah,
Basically any
I
file, right?
directly create new mule files in there as well.
Yeah, or you can import any local file as well, whichever we want to. So this is like giving you an empty canvas, and you can start designing. So that's going to be a mule file, or just like the way we had a snippet file here, I think we can go from there as well. Reference and then configure user snippet. So we had this mule dot. I mean that is a different thing. Sorry, but yeah, we can create an empty XML file just like the way we did this.
Yep.
Cool. And then some positive thing, this was a good hands-on, definitely a plus point for the VS coders.
Yeah, I have to do a big shout out to Akshata. She is very new to Anypoint Code Builder, and she was so brave doing this all live here. I have to admire that. Really, really great job.
Thank you. I just wish it could have worked like other things as well. Like, but yeah, we'll definitely do it next time.
Yeah,
Akshara, you have to learn by now that nothing works in the live streams.
Yeah, no matter how much we paid to do them, of course, right?
yeah,
Those things
Yes.
are going to happen, and with which they are like forever.
yeah. So true. Are there any other questions we haven't answered yet?
Just waiting for the one from your team. I don't know if they already have an answer for you.
We may
Okay.
have to get back to you on that one.
That's cool. Love seeing mule development, not just in VS Code, but in the browser. Yeah, me too. I
Yeah.
love that. Because in GitHub, I always do like you can press dot and it will open the VS Code for you in the browser. And I do that all the time. So it's great to see that this will happen with MuleSoft as well. I
Yes.
saw ACV enabled in my trial account. Can you get to ACV without accessing Anypoint platform?
No, you
Um,
cannot. Uh, Go ahead.
yeah, sorry. As of now, we just have the web ID, and we'll be coming up with the plugin in the Visual Studio Code as well. That's right.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
then follow up, how can you access the tool independent of any point platform?
Yeah, I think that's the same question basically. So once we have the desktop version, then you can just go to the VS Code Marketplace and get the extension pack for the time being. We have the web IDE or the cloud IDE, whatever you want to call it, and you get there from the Anypoint platform.
Awesome. Some more positivity. Code Builder is a great addition, and can I say, like MuleSoft Anypoint platform integrating themselves. Cool.
Awesome.
Yay. All right. So I guess
Yep.
that's it for this. Oh, something. Will there be some documentation that shows the feature differences between ACV and Studio?
Um, Let me think about it. I mean, right now the documentation just shows all the features that are there in Anypoint Code Builder. If that is not helpful enough, then we can think about making it a little bit clearer.
I feel like a table would be nice to see the comparisons because a lot of people have asked, like, what is the difference between one and the other? So, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
That would be cool. Alrighty. Well, then let me send all of the links from here. Hold on. Give me a sec. So there's a trailhead topic, and I'm also gonna send it in LinkedIn. You can talk about what this that is,
Right.
Simone.
Yes. So you will see when you start using ACB, there's a link to a public GitHub repo where you can go in order to report your issues. But if you just have questions or you want to discuss things with us, then you can head to that trailhead topic for Anypoint Code Builder. Um, don't hold back on telling us how great it is. But also just any questions or discussion topics, you can go there to the trailhead.
And then that's the public GitHub repo where you can report issues, request features, or provide feedback.
Feedback.
Yeah, so that is
Um,
linked from the landing page and from within ACB as well. There are three templates in there. Yeah, three templates. One is if you have an issue, one is a feature request, and one is for just a question.
Sweet. Then the spotlight video if you want to kind of see more polished version of this. All right. Will there be any additional price for the ACV?
So I'm officially not allowed to talk about GA pricing right now. Um, that's my answer.
That's fine. Alrighty. So there's that. Akshara, maybe tell us what we will see on February 9.
So we're going to see a proper end-to-end use case with some connectors added, and like what you should be actually, how will you be using ACB in the to do work in your projects? Yeah, with some use case demo, and
All right.
we are hoping it will work. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think for all this month, we will be watching people from the community try Anypoint Code Builder on their own here with me. So we will see what they do, how they use it. But on February 9, we will come back here at the same time with Akshara and also Simone, right? You will be here
Yes, I'll
again.
be here too.
Yes. So next week,
Cool.
same time, same day, come back and we will continue this and hopefully we can tell you how Akshara fixed the things.
Yep.
Cool. Thank you so much, Akshada. Thank you, Alex. And thank you for everybody for listening and asking your questions or
Yeah.
watching, rather.
All right. Well, thank you so much,
Thank
both.
you.
And glad to have you back, Akshata.
Same here. Nothing has
Alrighty.
changed.
Yes. Well, I will see you all on Tuesday, February 7 at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, but you will see Akshara and Simone on February 9 at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. All right, awesome.
See you
See
next week.
you.
See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.